hometown stories from the heart of it all, and our folks have a lot to tell. We've got next door neighbors with remarkable lives. We're riding on a story carousel. So sit right back as we hear about their lives. Yeah, home is where our story begins. Families, neighbors, and friends, the love never ends. Right here in Miami Springs, right here in Miami, and Virginia Gordon's here in Miami Springs.
Hi, I'm Buzz Fleischman. Welcome to Hometown Stories. This is a series of conversations with local residents of Miami Springs and Virginia Gardens. Today we're really happy to have Ralph Wakefield and Nancy Jones with us from Pelican Playhouse and residents of Miami Springs. This is going to be a good story. Hi guys, how are you today?
We're good, Buzz.
Great.
It's good to see you. So we'll talk about where you've come from, and Ralph, you were born in Chicago?
I was born in Chicago, Buzz, and in 1952 it snowed in June. And my father said, "That's it, we're moving to Miami." And in 1952 we moved to Miami. And I did all my primary school.
Now where in Miami did you move?
5981 Southwest 48th Street, which is just west of the University of Miami. Yeah. I grew up down there and did all my primary schooling down there. Just had a great upbringing, great growing up. And in 65, I left home, joined the Navy, saw the world.
So well, how long were you in the Navy?
I was in the Navy for 3 years. Minority enlistment. You went in before you were 18, you got out the day before you were 21.
Good
Got
deal.
up on that.
Good deal.
Great deal. I paid for all my schooling, and saw the world.
Well, it was the best deal of all. They paid for your schooling. Wow. And where'd you go to school?
I went to Florida State University for my undergrad, and then my life changed. I got a job teaching at South Dade Senior High School, where I started my drama career. And then in '76, I took time to get a sabbatical at the University of Miami, and someone was waiting for me. And we were cast in the show Hair together.
Yes.
We were the leads in Hair, and I was Berger and she was Sheila, and the love story continues to this day.
Wow. So Nancy, you were in drama as well. Tell us a little bit about how long that you've been here first.
Well, I moved here in 1964 with my family out of Maryland, and my dad got a job down here, so that's why we came. And I went to Springview Elementary, Miami Springs Junior High, Miami Springs Senior High, and then I went on to the University of Miami. So I'm a Miami girl.
Valedictorian at the Miami
I was the
Senior High?
valedictorian the year I graduated in '74.
Didn't you get the Silver Knight?
I did win the Silver Award. He's so good.
Tell us about the Silver Knight Award. That's prestigious, Nancy. That's a big shot right here.
It was so great. And what you did in those days was you come up with a project that you wanted to do. And so I got together with some friends and we did a cutting from The Hobbit. And there was at that time a showmobile that went around a lot of the different inner cities and performed. And so we were part of that performance. So I helped organize that. I helped make sure we always had everybody there. And it was great. And then, I just did things in the neighborhood too. I taught summer classes for students and did some fun children's shows then. So it was all good. And I got the valedictorian, I got the Silver Knight. And then, because it will lead to where we are now, I was interviewed for the local newspaper. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was called. It was not the Gazette at the time. And they said to me, well, what's your dream? And I said, well, my dream is to have a community theater here in Miami Springs. Because when I was young, my mother had to drive me down to Coral Gables, because that was the only place you could go for children's theater. So here I am in 1999. Dream comes true, and we're still here now. Great.
Let me remind everybody, this is 2019.
Right.
That was 20 years ago.
Right.
So you both have seen a lot of changes in Miami Springs.
Yes.
When you first got here. What were the most stirring changes that you found?
Well, I have to say, when we moved here, the Curtis Mansion was the happening place. In fact, we stayed in the townhouses that were there when we first moved. In 64.
64.
Right. And I mean, the big restaurant was over there, and we had proms in the Curtis Mansion.
Japanese steakhouse.
Yes. King Arthur's, yes, yes,
right?
yes.
Sure.
And the pond with the fish and the ducks and the bamboo trees. And so I think really for me, that's the biggest change, that all went down, and then with the help of all the Curtis Mansion people, it all's coming back up. Mansion looks great. One of our friends, Sam Chesser of Little Revolt, is going to be doing the Shakes Fest there this year, and that's great, and it's really captures, I think, what the mansion is all about. So that's probably the biggest change. There's stores that have come and gone, restaurants have come and gone, of course, out in the Circle area and also on 36th Street. But really, I have to say, the people have stayed the same. You know,
I think
still Little
people are
League,
pretty much the same.
still the library, still.
My biggest change, because I moved here from New York City in 1991 with Nancy, and I was writing for the soap operas at the time.
Any specific soap operas?
I wrote for All My Children and The Guiding Light. It was a pretty rich time in my history, hobnobbing with Erica Kane and the likes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Before she was Buffy, she was, but Broadway, big time. Yeah, and I was a New York City actor, hustling in the trade and living the life. But coming down here, we started the Playhouse in the old recreation center.
Yes.
And we put our shows on in the Cavalier Annex because it was the only room in the city that had a 10-foot ceiling. Everything else was 8 foot, and you couldn't hang lights and do it. So we were in the annex, and we were in the annex for 10 years. And the biggest change was them deciding to build this magnificent theater, and that has been a godsend.
Yeah.
Well, the Pelican Playhouse, of course. Now, part of your chops for drama and writing is you won an Emmy.
I did.
Writing Emmy.
I
Yes.
did.
For your work on the soaps.
Did win an Emmy.
Tell me about how that happened.
We were with All My Children, and there was an in-house struggle that went on. Some of the writers sort of had a revolt and got the head writer fired in the middle of the season. The head writer got fired, and the head writer hired all the writers. So it's like being the president, and they go, all the cabinet goes with them.
Sure.
So we were all fired. Right in the middle of the season, we were fired. And a week later, Guiding Light hired the head writer back for Guiding Light, and she hired us all back for Guiding Light. So at the end of the year, we found out we were nominated for All My Children and Guiding Light.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool to have 2 nominations, but All My Children won that year. And
Fantastic.
That was kind of
It's something to hang your hat on. So you came down here and you part of what we do in Miami Springs, we give back. We want to make this town someplace where everybody knows who everybody else is.
Yes.
One of the reasons for this series, Hometown series, was to let everybody know who our neighbors are. As the song says, we have neighbors, we have hometown neighbors with remarkable lives. You guys certainly have remarkable lives. So you got here, you set up the Pelican Playhouse in the old annex, and you were there for how long?
We were there for 10 years. We were there for a little more than 10 years, actually. They built this in April of 2010. So right up till there, we did our last show 2009, fall of 2009.
Right.
So we were there for 10 years. And we did some amazing stuff in there. I have fond memories of it. But I also have fond memories of putting all our props and stuff in the gym.
Yes.
All right. The gym was falling apart, and they had those restraining walls that kept the debris from falling down. They said we could put our stuff in there.
Yeah.
So we would.
And we were thankful. We didn't have to pay for storage.
It was a place to go.
It was a place to go.
to go in a storm.
So, yeah, but this is a lot better.
Yeah.
So this is the summer of 2019. That was
Right.
it's been 20 years for Pelican Playhouse.
That's correct.
Have you had any of your students, and it's not just students or young people that are here. Tell us about the range of ages you've got working here with the play. It's very unique.
Gosh, we started like 5 years old with the acting for young people class, and that's in the morning, and they do performances actually for the adult seniors in Miami Springs and for their family and friends. And then we have our production classes, and that starts at the age of 9, and it goes all the way up. And if you don't think you can memorize lines into your 80s or 90s, you would be wrong, because those people show up and they do it, and it's great. And it's great because it's a mix of all ages, and there's, Ralph always picks a show. What happens is people come and sign up for our class, and then we pick a show based on the people who showed up. So there's no such thing as auditions. You don't show up for a specific play and you're either in or you're out. No, you show up and you're part of that class. And then Ralph will select a play and say, okay, this is the play we're going to do. For instance, The Hobbit. We have this many adults, we have this many kids, this will fit in here, this is how it'll work. He casts it, and then they start rehearsing. So, you can have a group of 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 16-year-olds and 40-year-olds all together in the same scene, rehearsing together. Yeah, so it's really, I think it's one of the really great things about the Playhouse.
Brings the community together.
Absolutely, and totally intergenerational.
And my favorite thing is intergenerational, when we get families on stage together.
Yes.
We get mothers and fathers on stage with their kids.
How cool.
Now, this is, it's not sports where the parents sit on the sidelines and cheer. They're in the game with the kids. That's a whole different experience, and it really, really binds them.
Now, as yet, do you have anyone that has gone on to bigger and better areas of drama, singing, theater, from Pelican Playhouse?
We have quite a few, actually. We have the Amaya family.
Yes.
Robert and Colleen started with us back in 74, or 2004, I think.
Right, in the old space.
In the old space. Colleen is one. Carbonell here.
For a performance she did up at Stage Door.
Yeah.
And Robert's making
Did you recognize that in her when she was here as a
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's people who show up and they've got it.
And Robert has gone into the cinema.
Yeah.
He's made several movies.
Yeah.
And he is quite the character.
We have one young man, Braden Harrington, who started with us when he was like 5. Just the tiniest, cutest little kid. And he continued with us for a while, and then he went off and branched off, and he actually became a technical person for the theater. He's out there working at the Utah Shakespeare Festival, sending us fantastic pictures of the shows they're doing out there, working for the lighting crew there. So, that's fun to see. And we have other people who've gone on, they're still working it, they're still trying.
Still out in the industry.
Yep.
I'm sure that someday someone's going to get an Emmy, an Oscar, a Grammy, whatever it is.
Whatever
they're
it
going
is.
to call your name out, and they're going to say, this is where we got our start.
That's exactly
Isn't
what
that
we tell
great?
them. We tell everybody that.
That's right.
We have an awards ceremony at the end of every big production that we do. We do 2 main stage productions and then a summer recital. At the end of each main stage production, we have an awards cast party that we do. And everyone who has participated, whether they're actors or technicians, they get an award. And they get a Charmin Award. And the Charmin Award is a handcrafted award made by the artistic director, Ralph Wakefield. It's a roll of toilet paper, wrapped in aluminum foil, with a bowing actor on top. And we tell them, you have to come up here and make a speech. And some of their speeches are very moving. And we say, so practice that and make sure you do the same thing when you're standing on the Academy Awards stage, thanking Ralph Wakefield, Nancy Jones, and the Pelican Playhouse. And they're like, okay, we will.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's
Good.
coming.
It's
Force
great.
them to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, not really, because they're going to, people love where they've come from.
Absolutely.
They remember their best teachers
Yes.
growing up, and they
Yeah.
probably remember both of you for
Yeah.
bringing into their lives
I
something
talked
that
earlier
helps them.
about the community theater that I attended, and it was
Yeah.
down in Coral Gables. It was at the Merry-Go-Round Theater, which was 1 block north of Miracle Mile, and my teacher there was Esther Brazo. I remember her to this day. I remember the things that she taught me, and it wasn't just theater. They were life lessons, and it was incredible, and I'm so thankful for that experience. It was amazing.
So for amazing experiences, tell me why you both love Miami Springs.
Ralph lives here.
That just said everything.
No, it's just,
That look was
how long do we
priceless.
have?
Yeah. For me, growing up in unincorporated Miami-Dade County, it wasn't fancy, And then living in New York City on a block off of Broadway for 10 years, that was Oz. And then we moved to Miami Springs, and it was Mayberry. It was small town Mayberry. People were friendly. They were accepting. They were encouraging. My mother-in-law and father-in-law lived here. It was like family.
This was when we were basically an airline community.
That's right,
That's right.
yeah.
Everybody that worked in the airlines
Yes.
would live here,
Yes.
work here, the engineers, pilots, flight attendants,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. I know too, we have a daughter, and when she was probably about 10, which would have been 1990, I guess Lord of the Rings was coming out or had come out, and so she and a group of her friends, over the summertime, they're out of school, and they decided...
98.
98, sorry.
You said 90.
Thank goodness somebody's in charge of math here. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm sure the Lord of the Rings was later than that. Anyway, we got together the Fellowship of the Cheese. So she and a group of her friends would load their backpacks with string cheese and water, and they'd just explore Miami Springs. And we never worried, not a jot, And it was very cute because I guess maybe the third night she came back. She said, "Yeah, police officer came by." I said, "Oh, what did he want to know?" And she said, "Oh, he was just making sure we were safe." And he said, "That's good. Have a good time." And she said, it's just a safe place. It's a nice place to be and to go out and chat with your neighbors, and people are just nice here.
Plus, they wouldn't have gotten lost. They had the string cheese to lay out
Exactly.
behind them, so
That's
they could just
exactly
follow
right.
it all the way back home.
All the way back, you're
Sure.
right. And other people can't say that about the communities they live in Miami. And, as they like to say, it's at the heart of it all. It's very close to the Palmetto Expressway, to I-95, to go down to Coral Gables, to go north. It's just convenient.
Not that we ever want to leave the zip.
No, we sure don't.
And go
No,
there.
No, it's true.
But it continues,
Yes.
it continues to
Yeah.
be. Now, let me ask you each, is there something that people do not, now think about this for a second here, there's something that people do not know about you that you would want to tell them? Is there something that?
I gotta say, Buzz, we are an open book,
Yeah.
really. We're pretty much, we are who we are. We're a couple, we love one another, we love the house we live in, we love our mango tree, we like making jelly, we love our church down at Coral Gables, we love our theater, we love bringing people together. We love, I think one of my favorite things, we just love what we do, I love watching people come to the theater and leave wide-eyed and just, wow, that was amazing. I love watching Ralph pour himself out into the lives of these people. So really, there's nothing about us that people don't know.
Well, you both are treasures here.
Oh, thanks.
You help the fabric of the community to be together and stay together. It's a big shot for us to have a community theater here
Thanks.
with people that have got the background and the willingness and the time to dedicate to it, because you never know where kids are going to take the training they get with you.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people will say to us, well, I don't want my kid to be an actor. And you're like, well, do you want them to stand in front of a group of people and sell an idea? Do you want them to be a CEO? Do you want them to...
Interview well.
Yeah. Do you want them to be able to be comfortable speaking words to other people? And that's huge, So, come on out. Have a little fun.
See, there has been one thing I haven't been able to do.
What's that, Ralph?
The Fleischmans.
Oh, that's
Buzz and
right.
Kathy.
We have not got Buzz and
I
Kathy.
keep trying to drag them into the Playhouse, and they all have such good reason. They're very busy, they'd really like to, but now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that, but I have not given up.
No.
I'm sure, Ralph and Nancy, that perfect little cameo
Yes.
that you need, and you say, just, Fleischman, it might be good for
It
that.
might be good, just a tiny
Call me,
little part.
you never know.
Yeah.
I'm all for interesting stuff, so
We only do interesting stuff.
That's
You
true.
do,
That's
you
very
do interesting
true.
stuff.
We do.
Hey, would you change anything about this town?
Gosh.
Oh, boy. There's so many great things about it. People say, yeah, you're so close to the airport, but yeah, we're so close to the airport.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's the good
We have
news,
people
huh?
come in and they're in 10 minutes, The train yard, you say, well, they got the train. Yeah, but it cuts off the west side of the city, Well, what about the canal? Well, it cuts off that side. I mean, we're like in a little island here,
Yeah.
like in a little
Oasis.
Oasis.
Yes.
That's a good word.
And plus, of course, we totally
An
appreciate
enclave.
this new community center. I mean, this is just fantastic.
It's
And-
wonderful.
And, I'm laughing because here you are interviewing us, and this happens to be a Friday afternoon during their regular, summer camp that they do with the kids.
Kids are running around
Kids
all
are
over
running
the place.
everywhere. The basketball courts are, and that's true. When
We
you
got
come
chased
over
out of the
here-
studio.
Yes, we
We
did.
did.
We had
Yeah.
to change out of our theater. But, so that's great. And then my granddaughter was in town, and it was just she and I one day, and I said, let's go to the pool. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun at that pool. We loved the slide. I work with the scrapbooking group. We rented the center there, the aquatic center room, and people were like, okay, this is the only place we're coming from now on, you know? So I think that there's room for improvement, but I think that the city is working towards that, you know? I think they see a problem, they fix it, and it takes a little bit of time and effort, but I think it happens.
Very responsive, the city's very
Yes, they are.
responsive to all your
Yes,
needs as well.
yes.
And more than that, they are visionary. I cannot find other communities that support the theater arts the way our city does. It's extraordinary for them to realize the impact that it has on the community.
Yes.
And we had our 15th anniversary 5 years ago, and we made a big hoopla out of it. We got proclamations from the county and the city and everything, and we had a big scroll of the people that had been in the Playhouse. There's more than 600 names that went by, and that was 5 years ago, and there's another 200-300 there. We have people that come back every year. We've had people that have been doing for 10 years, but every time there's somebody new people that come in and discover it.
And the nice thing too is it brings people in from outside of Miami Springs too, you know, so that's good. They go, they eat at the restaurants that are here, they come, they spend their money in the theater, you know, so that's good too.
I never knew this was here.
Exactly. And
Where do we go to on the net to find the Pelican Playhouse?
www.pelicanplayhouse.org. All one word. There we
All
are.
you need to know.
That's it.
Well, you guys certainly you have done it here. You're a jewel in our crown.
Thank you.
This helps our quality of life, the togetherness of our community, and I thank you so much for being on
Thank you.
Hometown Stories. It's
Really
my
a
pleasure. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for asking us,
Thank you,
Buzz.
Buzz. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, everybody. And
Thanks.
Anna Hume, our producer over here, thank you very much. And that's another episode of Hometown Stories. We'll see you next time.
Ba-dum-bum. We'll be here all week.
Families, neighbors, and friends, the love never ends right here in Miami Springs. Right here in Miami, and Virginia Gardens here in Miami Springs.